freaks to the metal-handed god. Metal-handed god. I'd like to welcome all you freaks to the metal-handed god. We some nerds with the urge to purge on some line.
Alright, we're rolling. As long as we're talking loud, everything should be good.
Alright, I can talk loud, I think.
I am Adam. This is the metal-handed... Oh, I'm sorry. I'm supposed to do like, and we're back because it's Wayne. That's how he does things. And I don't like doing that because, like I'll listen to our show.
Yeah.
And the motherfucker's like yelling in my ear. I'm like, people listen to this shit on their headphones.
Yeah, it gets a little loud.
But that's his thing. That's how he likes to do it. I don't do it that way. But I am Adam. Wayne isn't here. Kyle isn't here. Rum isn't here. They're all busy. It's a Sunday, and so I have like Stephen Amell's stunt double, Matt Robin.
That's high praise.
Do you get that?
Yeah, I get it a lot.
Because you do. Like especially like when you have the full beard, like you were sporting it in Orlando.
Yeah.
You had the full beard, like you didn't. But like now that you've got it like semi-shaved with the, what is that, a 6 o'clock shadow?
It's like a
7:30 shadow.
Scrubble.
Yeah, you look a little more like Stephen Amell, but that's not a bad thing to be. That dude's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's a good-looking dude. I'm okay with it. He's a nice guy too. I met him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, well, at a Comic-Con. So.
Okay, yeah, he was in MegaCon.
Mm-hmm.
I've only been there twice. It's been a few years. I enjoy it. Like, was it bad there that year? Like, was it too busy?
No, it wasn't too busy. Though it wasn't as bad as the one in New Orleans was about 2 or 3 years ago that had Bruce Campbell. That one was real, like a little bit too hectic for me. Mm-hmm. But MegaCon wasn't bad at all.
I went. Let's see. It would have been either 2014, I want to say, or 14 or 15, and it was their biggest year, and it was like Mardi Gras Day.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, it was bad. Like there was this panel that I really wanted to go to. One of my favorite artists, a guy named Adam Kubert.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've been to Universal
exactly.
Orlando. Yeah. Like he did all the art. For anyone who doesn't know who Adam Kubert is, if you go to Universal Orlando in the Marvel Superior Island, all that art is Adam Kubert.
Adam and his brother
Andy,
they used to do all the X-Men comics.
Right.
Every one of them in the 90s.
It's the most famous family in comics.
Yep.
But I went that year, and he had a panel, and it was a big deal. But at some point, after like literally just standing like dick to ass with what I assume was a woman, not totally sure. Like I was just like, fuck it, it's not worth it, and I just left. So, but yeah, no, Mel's he's pretty cool. He does all that charity work. He sells T-shirts. I think it's to fight cancer.
Yeah, the Fuck Cancer shirts. Yeah, I've got one.
I need to get one. But anyway, you're in New Orleans now. You had an extended stay in Orlando.
Yeah, went through Full Sail University. Got my degree in film.
That's pretty awesome. Full Sail is pretty... I mean, it's one of those things where it's not necessarily the most famous university, but it's very prestigious to go there.
It's got a lot of people who are pretty big in the industry right now. Stephen C. Miller, he's a director. He's directed Escape Plan 2.
Okay.
And which is the Sylvester Stallone and Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Mm-hmm. And he directed... he's every one of his movies has Bruce Willis in it for some reason. He works with Bruce Willis. Like Marauders. There's a new one coming out that I can't remember the name of it. But
is it Death Wish?
No, he didn't. I don't think he did Death Wish. He might.
Okay, I'm not sure who did. But
Death Wish looks good, though.
It does. My only complaint with Death Wish is if you're going to do a Bronson movie, you got to grow the Bronson mustache.
Yeah, well, I kind of agree. I don't think mustaches really hold up the way they used to. It's not a threatening thing.
It depends on who does it, but I will agree that it would probably look kind of molestery on Bruce Willis.
Well, he had one in Death Becomes Her. He had a mustache.
Yeah, I think that was his only foray into mustache territory. That's
that
probably for the best.
He dipped his little toe into the.
That was a weird fucking
pool.
movie.
Yeah, it was weird. I loved it though. It was one of my favorite Bruce Willis movies because you don't look at it as a Bruce Willis movie. It doesn't seem like.
Well, that was when. Because Bruce Willis wasn't an action star originally. He was
kind of a comedy.
He was a comedy guy. Like all of his early movies were comedies, and Moonlighting isn't. It was a comedy, and that was what made him famous. And I think they
And he did Hudson Hawk.
That was later.
Bizarre.
That was later. But they had to talk, the producers into letting them cast him for Die Hard. Because they didn't want him.
Yeah.
They were like, he's the Moonlighting guy.
Yeah.
But Die Hard was amazing and legendary, and then he became the action guy, and he doesn't really do that many comedies anymore.
No, he really doesn't. Most of the stuff he does nowadays, like I was talking about Stephen C. Miller, who directs him in a lot of stuff. Stephen was talking about it, and he says that he usually only has Bruce Willis for a day. So he'll shoot a full movie worth of stuff, or all of Bruce Willis's scenes will be shot in one day.
Everything else will be like body doubles.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's amazing, like when you're looking at the film industry, like how often that happens. Like I found out now this is going to make me look stupid. I did not realize that Back to the Future 2 and 3 didn't have the weird
dad, Crispin Glover.
Crispin Glover. I didn't realize he wasn't in 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And I was listening to this podcast called I Was There Too.
Okay.
That interviews, basically the guy talks to people who were in famous movies, but they weren't the main actor. It was like they were like an extra in a very important scene or something like that. Basically, or a producer or something like that. And he interviewed the guy who replaced Crispin Glover. I was like, oh fuck, no, that wasn't Crispin Glover. And then I started thinking about Back to the Future 3, and I was like, oh, he wasn't in that movie at all.
Nope.
No one was. Like, but you don't think about it. You don't think about how now suddenly Leah Thompson is playing his wife.
Yeah.
And as the older broad.
It was real weird the way they chronologically put that movie together. But it worked out. I loved it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's definitely one of like all time great franchises. But
no shit. But yeah, Back to the Future is one of the best trilogies that's happened in film, in my opinion. I like it way better than the Lord of the Rings stuff.
So here's the thing. Like I don't know if people are that. Here's the thing. I do agree, but I do like. I think there's a weird like overblownness about certain franchises. I love Back to the Future. It's definitely one of my favorite franchises, and Back to the Future 3 is the only movie one of 2 movies that I remember my dad taking to me as a child. The other was Dante's Peak, the weird Pierce Brosnan
I don't think I ever watched
Volcano movie.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember.
There was Volcano and Dante's Peak.
Okay, wait, no, Dante's Inferno, right? No, what's Dante's Inferno?
It might be Dante's Inferno.
What is it?
Wait, no, Dante's Inferno is... Wait.
What is Dante's Inferno?
Dante's Inferno is the legendary book.
Yeah. About the layers of hell.
Was it named after that? No, I think it was Dante's Peak. But it doesn't matter.
Right. Okay.
The Volcano movie with Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
Those 2 are the only things. So I have this big affinity for Back to the Future.
Yeah.
I also love both Ghostbusters movies. The real ones, not the new one.
I still haven't watched that.
We'll get to that in a minute.
All right. Fair enough.
But when I see people that are obsessed with these franchises, I'm like, they're not Star Wars. They're amazing movies that you should appreciate. But when and look, no offense to the Louisiana Ghostbusters, but like I've had this discussion with my best friend, The Hustle. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be like us deciding like, what if we dedicated our lives to Groundhog's Day, which is a better movie. It's a much better movie than Ghostbusters. Well, maybe not much, but it's a better movie.
I think Ghostbusters just did a better job at making itself a franchise and making itself accessible for kids to buy toys and the cartoon and stuff like that. So
it's less heady, but it's more commercial, or more commercially viable.
Yeah,
but and also Groundhog's Day has a lot of like great bid players like Ned Ryerson. I can't think of his name. Stephen Tobolowsky.
Yeah,
but like Ghostbusters is like these great giants. Like,
and Bill Murray, man, Bill Murray made that movie. He's the only reason it was.
They all did. Like you have to give Ghostbusters credit.
I can give the guy who played Egon.
Harold Ramis.
Yeah, he did a great job, and so did Dan Aykroyd and the other guy that nobody remembers. But Bill Murray made that movie.
I know his name's Winston and Zedmore in the movie. I know who he is. I can never remember his fucking name, and it makes me feel horrible.
I know. It's because he's the black guy, and you don't want to be the one that forgets the black guy.
No, I am a racist, but that's not the reason. That's not the reason I don't remember. It's just that he's only done like 3 movies.
Yeah.
He's did those 2 movies, and he did the movie The Cowboy Way with Woody from Woody Harrelson.
Is that the one with Kiefer Sutherland in it too?
I think so.
Yeah.
It's this weird movie where 2 cowboys show up to New York to.
Yeah.
It's like the inverse of Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah.
But more comedic and yet less funny. Anyway, But anyway, Death Wish. The reason I love that trailer is that it's an affront to everything that seems to be going on in Hollywood now.
Yeah.
Like, it's a guy loses his family. He's just like, I'm going to take the law into my hands. I'm going to get a shotgun and a bunch of other guns, apparently. And I'm going to kill the bad guys. And, like, Hollywood, over the last, 15 years, has done everything they could to, like, take us away from that.
Yeah.
You know?
Really,
and it's just, and there are people who are genuinely pissed seeing that. And then there's, like, people like me that are just like, that's amazing. And I'm so happy that this movie's being made now.
I'm so sick of that mindset of people wanting to baby foot around with movies and stuff. Like, it's art. You just make what you make. It doesn't matter if it's, you know what I mean? It doesn't matter whose feelings you're hurting or what you're putting in people's minds or anything like that. It's art. You have to do it. Hollywood's so fake with that stuff.
Well, sometimes it's art. Like, my only issue is when something's artificial. Like, I'm trying to think of, like, a good example of, like, there's some movies that you watch these days, you're just like, oh, this was made to fit a certain audience that some executive decided. Yeah, okay,
well, the
Emoji movies.
Okay.
Well, Ghostbusters as well.
Yeah.
You know, but, like, these movies that, like, look.
I heard the Emoji movie was shit, by the way.
Did you?
I haven't watched it.
Did you hear what T.J. Miller said about it?
No.
It's not good. No, he, before the movie came out, now look, I wasn't interested in the Emoji movie.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think T.J. Miller's the young lead in the movie. Like, he plays the young, I think. But the father of the lead Emoji is played by Stephen Wright.
Okay.
Who is my hero. One of my heroes. So when I saw Stephen Wright was in it, I was like, I might be willing to give this a shot.
Yeah.
T.J. Miller did an interview in, I think it was Vanity Fair, where he said, this is a movie that's designed to give kids progressive value. Basically, he said it's a propaganda movie for his politics. And I was like, well, A, the Emoji movie?
Yeah.
B, fuck you, I'm out, and I will tell anyone that I can not to take their children to see this movie. I don't think any movie designed for kids should ever involve politics in either direction or any direction. Like, it's a movie about fucking emojis, which A, shouldn't have been made to begin with.
No, definitely not.
But that movie, it's like somebody was just like, well, what's popular right now? Do emojis. All right, well, let's make a movie about emojis. Like, yeah, that'll be good. Whatever.
They keep doing these horrible little cookie cutter movies that are the same thing, and like this is the same thing as the Lego Movie, which I like the Lego Movie, but it's
only amazing because of the people who made it.
Yeah. But it's the same like ideas. It's take this, shove it down someone's throat. Take this, shove it down someone's throat.
Well,
there's like a billion commercials. And the billion tie-ins with Snapchat and different things like that. Nobody makes films anymore to show that, like, they don't have the passion for it anymore. It's just these cookie-cutter, off-the-wall things that I hate.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get too deep into this, but, like, it's what I try to explain to people when, like, you have these people, like, when it comes to the Marvel and DC movies, where, like, one team or the other. And I always try to explain to people, like, whenever somebody says, like, oh, you're just a Marvel fanboy, I'm like, no, Marvel is being made by people who genuinely have an affection for the material.
Yeah.
They weren't, like, Marvel was small studio being relative, because they had to take, like, $1 billion loan out. This, you know, because Disney didn't own them originally. They made themselves. What
was that, 2015 when they were bought out?
Might have been a little earlier than that, but around that time. But, like, the people who set out to make these movies did so because they loved the material.
Yeah.
DC's owned by Warner Brothers. All Warner Brothers cares about is making I'll get it later. A giant action movie that makes a lot of money. That's all they care about. They don't care who the actor is. They don't care who the director is.
Yeah.
They're just like, just go make a giant action movie with the names of characters that people know.
That's literally why Ben Affleck dropped out of Batman, because they didn't want him to make it from a fan standpoint. They wanted him to make it from a blockbuster standpoint. I mean, well, that's what I've heard.
I've heard different things. I do, like, the rumor right now is that he's actually not going to be Batman any longer. They're saying... So the reason they're giving is that he's older now, and he's too old to commit to, like, 3 Batman movies.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, Bruce Willis is making Death Wish.
Yeah.
Like, fucking Harrison Ford's going to make Indiana Jones.
See, I'd heard the complete opposite. I heard he signed on for another Batman movie, a sequel to the Batman movie they're, I guess, in the works of making now, and Batman Begins, so they could start another, not Batman Begins, Batman, the one with Terry McGinnis. Is
Batman Beyond.
Batman Beyond, yeah. And that's like the end of the trilogy for him. Would be that.
That would be amazing, but I can't see that actually happening.
Yeah.
Batman Beyond didn't last because it was too conceptual.
Yeah.
Like, people didn't really know what to make of it, even though it was amazing. But it's hard to say with Warner Brothers. They've lied. Like, the entirety of the Justice League production from, what was it, 2012 was when Man of Steel came out, something like that. They've consistently lied about what they were doing and why they were doing it, but the rumor now is that Affleck's going to drop out, and they're not going to replace him as Bruce Wayne. They're just going to have Bruce Wayne drop out, and then I'm half expecting them to try and do Dark Knight Returns and have Carrie Kelly, like, have a female Batman.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if they do it, but I feel like the way they've been going, and the way the industry works.
Yeah, it's everything's so, like, overly liberal. That's what I kind of felt like they were going to do with the Terry McGinnis. Either make it a woman or make it, a gay guy or something. They're gonna do something to make it different. You know what I mean? They're not gonna have another white male lead.
That's the way things are these days, but. And actually, in Batman Beyond's niche enough to where you could probably get away with it.
Yeah.
Look, I love Idris Elba, but the only reason that I didn't care was because that they replaced, that they made him the gunslinger in the Dark Tower, just because I don't have any affinity for the Dark Tower.
Yeah.
But when people get mad at you, like, there was something about that recently. They put out a... So you've read X-Men comics, you said, right? So do you remember Domino from X-Force?
Yeah.
Okay, well, Ryan Reynolds this past week shared a picture of the person that's going to play Domino in Deadpool 2. And the actress doesn't look like Domino. It's a black woman with a white mark on her face.
It looks like like diaper rash or something on her face. It's not even like a...
Yeah, it's not pain or anything like that. And I wasn't upset exactly, but I made a lot of comments online pointing out, like, this isn't Domino. Domino, for anyone who hasn't read X-Men comics, is a character that's you'd call her kind of an albino.
Yeah.
She's sort of like Mystique in a sense. Like, her skin color is mutated, but she has like a black mark on her right eye.
It's like a circle or
it's like a circle, yeah. And so their idea was like, let's just have a black actress player and put a white mark, and it'll be the inverse. Well, but that's not all. That's not all that goes to the character. And actually, I don't even think the character has to be white. Like, I don't care that she's black, because, like, the point is her skin is a different color. She's not, like, you're not really white. You're Caucasian.
Yeah.
Your skin is technically pink.
Right.
Domino is white, like
the color white,
right?
Like, actually.
And so, like, people got upset, and then other people were like, "You're just a bunch of racists." It's like, no, it's
like, I hate that. No matter what you say nowadays, you're a racist.
I am a racist, but, like, that doesn't mean I'm wrong.
That's true.
That's an ongoing joke with I always say that, just because I don't care. Like, I don't care if you call me a racist, and I'm ethnically indeterminate to most people.
Yeah.
Like, I get Hispanic most often. Sometimes I get black. So I don't know if people really know where to put me for the most part.
Yeah.
But
I get's white. I couldn't be anything else. Irish sometimes, which is.
You just tell them you're an albino.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean,
Well,
sure,
you're really
why
a
not?
black man. You're just an albino.
I'm at least the lower half of me is. But no, I agree.
My right foot is.
I don't. I don't like. I mean, especially when it's a character that I grew up with, and Domino is not one of those characters. Even though I did, grow up with Domino.
You're not necessarily precious about it.
Yeah, I don't care that much about her, but to me, the way they did the eye thing, the circle, it just looks
Cheap.
Yeah, it looks like shit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, we'll see. I was more mad that they made Valkyrie black in the upcoming Thor movie.
Yeah, well,
Because-
but that does go along with what Marvel did because they made. Now, to be fair, like if you're familiar
Heimdall.
with Hogun,
Yeah.
like he one of the Warriors 3,
Oh yeah.
he was always implied in the Marvel comics to have been Genghis Khan
Oh yeah.
because all the three Warriors 3 were supposed to be famous characters from history, like what's his name, Fandral, the guy who was played by Zachary Levi.
Yeah.
Was always implied to have been the basis for Robin Hood.
Okay.
And then Hogun, who's the guy with the horn helmet, he was always implied to have been Genghis Khan. So making him Asian was kind of like, okay, and even like the Idris Elba's Heimdall thing, I was like, I guess, like, I'm not going to make too much of a splash about it, even though it doesn't make sense considering they're Norse gods.
Yeah.
But at some point, you do have to point out that, like, isn't it kind of silly? Why not just come up with a different character, or
That's one of the big things for me is like I understand you want a woman, a strong, powerful woman character. Well, write one. Wonder Woman's been around for years, and they've always talked about like we need Batman to be a woman, or we need Superman to be this or that. At one point they made them Chinese. I don't even know what happened with that.
I didn't hear about that.
It's just I don't know why they do that. Instead they can't just take like Wonder Woman, make a good movie, which they did, I guess.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's okay. It's solid. It's good. It's worth watching. I'd even say it's worth owning. It's not what people are making it out to be.
Yeah.
For whatever reason, whether it's because you're a DC fanboy or because you want Wonder Woman for feminists, blah blah blah.
I heard they make her really stupid through the whole thing. Like
I'd say naive.
Naive.
But there's also weird things like, at some point, like this is a weird thing in a movie that's technically supposed to be for kids and adults.
Yeah.
At one point, like she walks in on Chris Pine and his dick's out
All right.
because he was taking a bath, and she's like, "So you're a guy?" And I'm like, "Wait, no, hold on. You're in your mid-20s. You've only heard of men. You probably wouldn't have heard of penises, and you'd be a little more surprised if you saw them.
Yeah.
Like there's not, you can't, like you got kids, like at some point, like they have questions about their bodies. It's never like, so it's a vagina, right? Okay. Like there's gonna be a little bit. I'm sorry to bring your kids into this.
No, you're fine.
But it's like as a human beings, we're naturally curious about things we don't understand.
Yeah.
There's not just gonna be like, oh, so that's a penis. All right, whatever.
My son, for the longest time, thought I had 3 penises.
Good for you.
I know,
Do
right?
you, or is it
No,
just 2?
It's just 1, and then the ball sack. And I think he thought that was 2 extra penises.
Because he didn't know.
Yeah, he doesn't know. But yeah, I agree that she would be a little bit more shocked, I guess, or at least curious, like you said.
But it does play into like the guy who's like the creative head of DC, and I guess technically DC Studios as well, Jeff Johns.
Yeah.
The last time he wrote Wonder Woman, she was really stupid as well, or naive, however you want to put it. But I thought they did a good job. The only thing is, like, when you're watching the movie, I don't remember all of them, but there's 3 different parts where I was like, yeah, that was in Captain America.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that was in Captain America. That was definitely in Captain America. Like, spoiler alert, Chris Pine dies at the end of the movie.
Okay.
But the only reason he does is because they didn't want to be able to say, like, look, it's exactly like Captain America.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. It's a solid movie. But at the same time, like, San Diego Comic-Con was in mid-July, and they announced the release date for Wonder Woman 2, which is in 2 years.
Okay.
That's about standard for these movies. Like, every 2 years they put out a sequel. But people were acting like, oh my God, they announced the Wonder Woman when it's coming out. It's coming out in 2018. It's like, okay, you should have been able, or 2019, whatever. It's like, you should have been able to figure that out. It's not, they didn't announce who's playing the cheetah.
Yeah.
They announced a date that, quite frankly, as movie studios go, could get pushed back. Like, these things happen.
Yeah.
Like, all the time. So, but it's a good movie. It's a solid movie.
Okay. What have you heard about the Justice League movie? You excited about it?
I wouldn't say I'm excited. I'm more willing to see it than I was Batman vs. Superman.
Okay.
Which took me a year and a half to see, and I saw an hour of it.
Oh yeah? You didn't even stick through the whole thing?
It was boring.
It had its moments. I didn't hate it all as much as everybody else seemed to have.
Well, it's a 50-50 movie. It's one of these movies that's you either love it or you hate it. Technically, you can kind of put me in hate it, but I watched it, I was like, this is boring, and then the part I cut off was when Jesse Eisenberg starts feeding the General Jolly Ranchers.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
He was the worst part. Jesse Eisenberg, it was awful. It didn't even make sense as Lex Luthor.
I don't know that you can have a worse part of that movie, though. Like, there's just so many bad things about it. Like, philosophically alone, just the whole, like, Ma and Pa Kent consistently being like, maybe you should just let people die. It's like, wait, what? No. That's not, like, the reason that Superman is a great character is because he is instilled with values that make him better than us. It's not his abilities. It's that he was given these amazing abilities and taught to be a good person. But when you take out the good person, why isn't he a god? Why isn't he, like, conquering us? You know, like, look, I think I have fair morals. Little looser when it comes to women, but like fair morals. But if I didn't have those, and I don't know, I was super rich, like what would I do? I'd probably do a lot of horrible things.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know. But anyway,
you would do at least some bad things. It wouldn't all be horrible. Nobody's all evil, but nobody's all good either.
You know, it's a good example. Like, super famous Hollywood stars that are douchebags. Like, people make excuses for it because, like, what would you do if everyone treated you like everything you did was important and everything you said mattered?
Yeah.
You'd be an asshole, and they become assholes. Well, if Superman didn't have morals, he'd be an asshole. He'd just be like, you know what, I want that mansion. I'm going to kill everyone in it. I'm going to take that mansion. I want that woman. I'm going to kill her husband. You know?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Anyway.
I hated that Gotham was literally, like, across a river from Metropolis, which was literally just
a
like,
lot of people.
I want to go over there.
But they're not actually that far apart geographically. Metropolis is Cleveland.
Okay.
Gotham is Chicago. So,
okay. I always assumed Gotham, Chicago, and Metropolis is New York. And, I mean,
a lot of people
Superman
do.
Can fly so fast, it wouldn't take too long.
A lot of people do. But, you can't really replace New York City. Like, and technically they didn't replace Chicago either.
Yeah.
But Siegel and Schuster were from Cleveland.
Okay.
And in their mind, that was the big city, you know.
Yeah.
Now, does it really matter? No. But if you're thinking about it in those terms, it's not right across the river from each other.
Right.
But, I don't know.
Yeah, I can see that.
It actually always bothered me more that Kansas always seemed to be like right outside of Metropolis.
Yeah, they take a bus there and stuff, and it's like a day trip.
But anyway,
I wonder why they never said what state Metropolis was in. Did they?
Well, it's like the Simpsons thing.
Yeah,
like,
but they always did say Smallville, Kansas. Why would they do one and not the other?
That's a good point. I guess because Smallville didn't. I honestly, I don't know.
Yeah. Huh.
Like I said, as far as I knew, Cleveland was always supposed to be Metropolis, at least in the minds of the original creators. Now, people since probably actually do make it more like New York City in their minds, but I don't know. Metropolis seems a lot cleaner than New York.
When do you think they're going to revamp all of the DC universe? I give it 10 years at most.
Well, it depends. So, the dirty little secret is that Justice League didn't make that much in terms of what it needed to make.
Yeah.
Because that was, not Justice League, Batman vs. Superman. That was a super expensive movie to make.
Yeah.
I want to say...
Zack Snyder's a great director, but he's... I don't...
He's a great visual director.
Yeah.
But storytelling.
The whole problem with it is that he thinks everything should be
Dark.
well, not just dark. Everything should be a magical moment, and maybe not even that. It should be this beautiful escape. But to make a movie good, you also have to have those moments to where things slow down and you have a story that can be followed in it.
So my issue with him is like, and I actually, when they announced him for Man of Steel, like, I don't know if you remember this, but people hated that idea.
Yeah.
Because Sucker Punch had come out, and I actually like Sucker Punch for what it is. But people, like, lost their minds, and I was like, no, visually speaking, like, he's a great director. He can actually do things with Superman that we haven't seen before, that we should be able to see. And the trailer looked good.
Yeah.
But when I watched the movie, I realized, like, oh, this is his problem. He doesn't understand tone.
Yeah.
Like, I've always said, like, Man of Steel has the most tone-deaf moment in the history of cinema.
Yeah.
There's a scene at the end of Man of Steel where Metropolis has been, like, is like a crater.
Yeah.
Like, thousands of people have been literally, like, eviscerated. And Superman and Lois Lane make out on the skulls of the dead.
Yeah.
Like, they're standing in a Holocaust. Like, visually, like, it's because it's Zack Snyder.
Yeah.
Tonally, like, it's bleak. Like, visually, it's bleak. You know, very, very dark tones. And you just have these two characters making out, and I'm like, are they gonna? What? Look, I'm a horny person.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'd make out with my girlfriend at a funeral.
It's just not the right time.
Right.
You gotta...
And it's not earned. Like, storytelling-wise, it's not earned. Like, there's no reason for those two people to make out. You don't even know if there's any real chemistry.
Yeah.
But, and look, and I love Amy Adams, but I was like, no, this is terrible. But that's not his problem. Is he doesn't really understand tone. But if you just want a big time action movie, which I know people who do, people who love this stuff. But anyway, the movie for Batman vs Superman cost $500,000. I think that was after advertising. I think, but I'm not sure. So, in order to be considered a... Yes. 500 million.
Yeah.
Sorry. 500,000.
I don't know if that's right.
No, it's 500 million. In order to make, like, be considered successful, it had to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
Which it did, but it only barely made it.
And critically, it was destroyed. I mean, it made the money, but making the money and being a good movie is what's needed, not just making the money and being torn apart.
And also, in order to be considered a runaway success, you actually have to triple the money you spend.
Yeah.
So they would have had to make $1.5 billion. Now, typically speaking, like, if you said a movie make $1 billion, like, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
But for a movie of this nature, it's not. So, and I don't think it made that much more money than Man of Steel.
Yeah.
So basically, Justice League has to crush in terms of, like, how much money they make, and it has to, like, justify more movies. And if it doesn't, then Warner Brothers is going to be in trouble. And I do think that they'll... I think basically, if Justice League doesn't make the money they want, I think they're going to go back to making Batman movies.
Yeah.
Maybe without Ben Affleck, maybe just rebooting everything. Because I don't think they care. I think they figure, like, look, if we make Batman movies, it makes money.
They just need to get rid of Zack Snyder. I mean, because no matter what...
You know he's going to be out for a while.
Yeah,
anyway, his daughter
isn't Joss
committed
Whedon
suicide.
taking over? I heard that was a rumor.
So this is the deal. So people made a big deal about it, but, like, so you graduated from film school, so you'll know this. Zack Snyder's daughter, you know, say whatever you want about a filmmaker, his daughter committed suicide.
Yeah. She
was 16 years old or something like that. And the movie was in post-production, needed reshoots, which all movies do.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. You actually had some people kind of like, yay, Zack Snyder's gone. It's like, okay, but his daughter died. But, so Joss Whedon agreed to make a Batgirl movie.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. But they needed somebody to direct the reshoots. Now, some people think, like, oh, he was just doing a favor to Zack Snyder. You don't get Joss Whedon to direct reshoots. Yeah. So this is actually really interesting what happened. So the studio kind of played it like, look, we have Joss Whedon, the guy who made the Avengers movies, which made a lot of money, making a movie for us. Let's get him to do the reshoots. And we'll announce this, and this will inspire confidence in people. Like, basically they're saying, hey, you like those Avengers movies, right?
Yeah.
We got the Avengers guy. Look, he's making Justice League. It's going to be more like Avengers, which is kind of what they're going for anyway.
Yeah.
Getting it wrong, but that's what Justice League is. Justice League's trying to do a little bit of Avengers, a little bit of Guardians of the Galaxy, really more Avengers.
Yeah.
But so they're like, look, it's the Avengers guy. But the funny thing is, Jeff Johns came out not long after and was like, and said what's true. Joss Whedon's just directing reshoots. Like, it's still Zach's movie. Like, you can't. There's not enough reshoots that they could do. Like, unless Joss was editing it, and even then, he'd only have so much to work with. No matter what, this is Zack Snyder's movie.
Yeah, reshoots you don't do. They'll probably redo some of the key moments, and then some of the and they won't even redo them. They'll just shoot. Like, a lot of times when they do reshoots, they have to do it in terms of like maybe the audio didn't come out right, or something technical happened that might have messed it up. So it's still going to be the same. And
sometimes they look at scenes that didn't quite work, and they're like, well, why don't we do a rewrite on this scene, and it'll explain more, or take something out. But no matter what, like, there's only so much a reshoot can do. Even with massive reshoots, you can't within like 2 weeks change a movie that took 3 months to shoot. Like, you can't do that. And at most, like, honestly, like, trying to get Joss Whedon to do enough to make it more his film would just like lead to like a really choppy, strange movie. But it was just funny to me that Warner Brothers was trying to get ahead of like any negative publicity and say, look, I know you didn't like Batman vs Superman, but it's more like Avengers. Go see it. And then Jeff Johns comes out and says, nah, it's more like Batman vs Superman. But Hollywood's a strange fucking place.
Yeah, it is. I think it's weird that you would think they would do better because Warner Brothers has all of the characters in DC. Warner Brothers can do anything they want with any character in DC. Marvel has to pick and choose what they can use. Like, they had to change the Skrulls to Chitauri because they don't have the rights to it. So, I mean, you'd think that DC would be able to do a better job. And I think with Wonder Woman, they showed that it can be done at least well.
But I think they left Patty Jenkins alone. And also, here's the funny thing. So they made a big deal about, like, Wonder Woman, first major female solar superhero movie. Cool. It's being directed by a woman, Patty Jenkins. Cool. It was written by Alan Heinberg, the gay guy who created the OC.
Okay.
He wrote, like, a pretty awesome Wonder Woman miniseries. 2009 or something like that. So it just made me laugh. I was like, yeah, but you had to go to a guy to get the script right. Right? Okay.
The main part of it.
Right.
You had to go to a dude. Right.
So,
fair enough.
But they left her on. But this is the thing about creative stuff. Is like, and this is why big budget movies, like when they should be amazing, sometimes come out like you just don't know who it's for because there's so many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. In any creative endeavor, you want a 60 or 55-45 split. You want the creative person to have just a little bit more power, and you want the financial person to also have a big chunk. When you have it the reverse, money people don't understand creative measures.
Yeah.
Like, Warner Brothers is strictly financial. It's strictly inventory people.
Yep.
So they look at Avengers and they're like, you got fucking superheroes, right? You got chicks with big tits, explosions. Go make one of those, right? Just go make a movie, you know? Creative people don't look at it that way. They look at, like, okay, what are the characters? What's the story we're trying to tell? So when financial people are in charge, they make these by-the-numbers, like, color inside the lines movies.
Right.
They don't take risks because they're just like, they look at everything, every creative decision as statistics.
Yeah.
Creative people don't do that, but you still need the money people that go to a creative person and say, no, you're going too far, take it down.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the original Star Wars movies, the reason those movies were so amazing was because they had to struggle, because they had a limited budget. They had people who went to George Lucas and said, look, dude, that's cool, but no, that doesn't work.
Yeah.
But when he made his other movies, nobody's going to tell
Free
George
reign,
Lucas
yeah.
no. So you have this creative person. It's not that he's a bad creative person. It's just that he has this great imagination, but he doesn't have anyone to go to him and say, that's stupid.
Yeah.
And if they do, they get fired. So no one says it, you know?
Yeah, you're exactly right. So the way it works, directors, okay, you have your director, who's the head of the team, I guess is what you'd call it.
Right.
He doesn't really usually do the visuals. That'll be your director of photography, who the director does hire and works closely with during the shooting.
Right.
And also he hires the first AD, which the first AD is the person who does all of the schedules and all of the getting people where they need to be and making sure safety's number one, doing all the stuff. First AD is like it's almost like your first step down from a producer. Producers got all the money, then you got directors who really answers to the producer, but they're kind of right there usually.
Right.
And first AD is the one who directly answers to the producer and has to make sure everything fits in. So you say, we're going to shoot this here, at this time, we're going through this scene. And they're the ones that keep everybody, kind of keep the scheduling and keep everybody in check. Make sure everybody's where they need to be. So the producer being your money guy and your director being your creative mind, usually, a lot of times they'll bump heads.
Right.
Because the producer wants it to be a success money-wise, and the director wants it to be a success film-wise, like a good movie.
Right.
You'd rather, normally, not always.
Yeah, it depends on the producer.
Yeah.
Like a Steven Spielberg producer is going to have more visual.
Right.
But,
Exactly.
But most of these guys are just guys who had money or made their money.
Right.
You know.
But I think that's one of the big problems, because you heard that in Avengers, especially Avengers 2, to where the Age of Ultron or whatever it was called.
It was called Age
to where
of Ultron.
Joss Whedon, which didn't make sense. They called it the Age of Ultron, and it was only like a week. The movie took place within like a week. So
They took it from a horrible
it's not
comic
an age.
book.
Yeah, no. But yeah, Joss Whedon got into it with the producers then because the producers thought they needed more stuff to build on for other movies, for Thor and stuff like that.
Well, that's what happened to Edgar Wright. Like, because the movie I was most looking forward to was Ant-Man, because Edgar Wright is amazing. I still haven't seen Baby Driver, but I've heard great things about it.
Does he do that? I didn't know that.
Yeah, Baby Driver's his new movie.
I've heard real good things.
But he wanted to make like kind of a like a little more closer to not like, but closer to Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah.
Something that has more of a comedic bent and it's sort of a silly film, but it could also be viewed on another like level and all that, science fiction and all that. But at the end of the day, and they're not wrong, Kevin Feige was like, look, this is an important part of our franchise. Like, we'd like to use it to build upon the other movies.
Yeah.
Which is sort of the biggest flaw with the Marvel movies, that they're sort of a house of cards.
Yeah.
You know, like, you can watch some of these movies on their own. Not all of them, but some of them. But they're all designed to build upon previous things. And they're creating this big giant that, if one movie really bombs, kind of makes everything structurally weak. You know, but he wasn't wrong. But at the same time, like, when I found out Edgar Wright was leaving, I was like, why? And I understand why.
Yeah.
Because Edgar Wright's like, look, I'm not a big budget director. Like, I might do a big budget movie.
Yeah.
But I make movies that I and my friends want to see. I don't want to make a movie that Kevin Feige wants to see, whatever.
Just another blockbuster. He didn't want to just
And from what I understand, they kind of, like Paul Rudd and I think his director's name, but they sort of built upon what
Tim something maybe.
It's the guy who does like those Will Ferrell movies. Like, he did the Other Guys with Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell.
I can't remember the name of it. His name.
I think he's the guy that did The Hangover.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but anyway,
what did you think of Ant-Man?
I thought it was solid. It's not amazing. Like, honestly, I can't remember the last Marvel movie that I really thought like that was fucking amazing. Yeah. Like,
Civil War, easy.
I enjoyed Civil War a lot. I don't think it's quite on the level of some of their earlier movies. But I thought it was a really, really strong movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Ant-Man and Doctor Strange, I was just like, like they were good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy them. And I'm a huge Paul Rudd fan. But
Ant-Man, for me, Ant-Man was one of my favorite ones. One of my favorite Marvel movies in a while, especially standalone. Doctor Strange was, I mean, it was interesting, and I liked the way they did the visuals with the city bending.
Visually, it was amazing.
Yeah, but I don't know. I do get sick of the like we were saying earlier, the cookie cutter. Like, he gets his superpowers and he stops the villain.
That was the strange thing about it. No pun intended.
Yeah.
Kevin Feige announced a couple of years ago that they were like, I think it was around the time Age of Ultron came out. They were like, we're done with origin stories. Like, you can find about their origin some other way, but like, we want to tell our stories from now on. That's what they had said was going to happen. And I do wonder if it has to do with the power struggle that was going on over in Marvel, which no one that listens to MHOG is going to have that much interest in him, but there was a big power struggle at Marvel with the guy who ran it, Ike Perlmutter, I think his name was, and Kevin Feige, who runs Marvel Studios, and they clashed, and that's why Marvel TV and Marvel Studios have nothing to do with each other.
Yeah.
Because one took Marvel TV and one took Marvel Studios, and
they do better than DC does. That irritates me that they changed the Flash from the movie. If they would have,
can I tell you how? Like, look, I like that actor that's playing the Flash in
I didn't like him at first, but he's kind of grown on me.
He's a good actor though. Like, if you go see him in like Fantastic Beasts, like, you can see like, oh, this kid has range. He's not like, when I watch the Justice League trailer, I'm like, so did Zack Snyder just sit you down and tell you? Oh fuck, what's his name? I'm getting older. I can never remember people's names.
What is
Justin Long? It's like, just do Justin Long. You've seen Justin Long, right? Like, when I watch that, I'm like, he kind of looks like Justin Long, and he seems to be playing a Justin Long character.
Yeah, I hate the guy they got for the movie. I hate him.
And the other thing is, like, I'm watching like his powers, and like every time he moves, lightning shoots out. I'm like, that's really impractical.
It doesn't make much sense.
No, well, the lightning thing in the Flash from the comics was. It was like an image blur because he has like
his lightning on his shirt. Yeah.
And at some point, somebody at DC Comics was like, "Wouldn't it be cool if it was real lightning? Like if the Speed Force just had lightning?" And so they ran with that, and now, like, the Flash is just like a red blur with like actual lightning, which again, super impractical. Like, that's a lot of destruction that you'd be causing. But they took that to the ultimate degree with the movie, and like. He moves, and all of a sudden, like, lightning's blowing up his TV sets, and I'm like, well, how does that work?
And does he have, like, would Thor be able to beat him easily just by not letting him use the lightning and thunder? Is that
first of all, yes, Thor would beat him easily.
Well, easily for a different reason,
but like, then there's that scene from the San Diego trailer where, like, all the Justice League guys do the Batman disappearing act, except for him.
Yeah,
and he's like. Oh, they all left, even though I'm the Flash. That's kind of rude. And it's like, all right, like, really, like, that's your wacky moment. Like, it's not that it's not funny. It's just that, like, it seems like a Saturday Night Live skit.
Yeah.
Like, you'd see, like, like, look, the Flash is always the guy who's, like, who doesn't know what's going on.
Yeah, I just don't like him. I love that they got
Ezra Miller. That's his name.
Yeah. I like that they got the guy playing Aquaman.
Jason Momoa.
Yeah, Jason Momoa. I don't like that they... And I understand why, because Aquaman's always been kind of a joke, or in the past 20 years, 30 years.
That's how people... I always think that's funny. Like, oh, he talks to fish. He talks to sharks as well.
Yeah, he talks to a lot of things.
Like, he talks to whales. Like,
And, like, they did the video game, what was it, Injustice? And Aquaman was the coolest fucking character in Injustice. He was awesome. And, I mean, I don't know why they couldn't just leave it. I do like what they're doing with Aquaman. But I don't like them changing just for the sake of doing something different, Well, none of the characters, aside from Batman, none of the characters are themselves. Yeah. Because, again, like, Marvel's made by people... And even Batman's killing people now, which, I mean... Exactly. It's just different. It's just not what... But again, it comes down to, like, Marvel's made by people who have a genuine affection for the characters in the comics. Even when they make things different, they do it for storytelling reasons, because it is an adaptation. You can't make a comic book completely into a live-action movie. And then Warner Brothers just hires people, and they just, like, look, just make it all Batman. Like, even Wonder Woman, like, what I thought was interesting about Wonder Woman visually was when the Patty Jenkins does something interesting where when they're on Themyscira, the Amazon island, it's
bright colors. It's like saturated stuff like that. And you're like, oh, they can make a movie that's not like literally like desaturated bullshit. And then when they leave Themyscira, because they're leaving Paradise and they're going into World War I, then it gets saturated. You're like, okay, but at least they understand that what these colors and tones are for.
Yeah.
You know? But at the same time, like, it's still kind of tonally, like thematically still the same.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I forget where I was going with that, but it was interesting to actually see them, though, like, allow a director to go, like, oh, no, it doesn't all have to look like that, you know?
Yeah.
And...
yeah, I could see that. And doing that, I can't remember what we called it in film school, but doing stuff like that is really important as far as making people feel a certain way when you're making a film. But that's one of the problems I had with, like, Suicide Squad, too.
I never saw that one.
You didn't? It's an enjoyable watch.
I
mean, it's not going to change your life.
I was told that one was actually way worse than Batman vs. Superman.
Oh, really? No,
a
not
lot,
at all.
A lot of people said that to me, and I was like, oh, really?
Well, I mean, I guess
I never got around to it, so I can't say.
Yeah.
I've just...
If
like,
you're going in wanting something the level of Batman vs. Superman,
well, no, that's not
you're
what
not going to get it.
That's not what it's supposed to be.
But, I mean, and it's the actual threat that is there for Suicide Squad, the reason they get them, super dumb. Like, the villain's really dumb. A lot of it's dumb. But there's some really good moments that show up between, like, Joker, Harley Quinn, and Deadshot, and even Killer Croc. I mean, it's not a great movie. It's just one of those things where you can kind of enjoy it if you're not picking it apart. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, but you can never say, like, there's some movies that I'm like that. Well, give you a good example. I love the Amazing Spider-Man movie, the one that came out a few years back. Not the second one. I didn't see that one.
I didn't see that one either.
I heard that, like, that one looked terrible. I didn't see it. I have far less problems with Amazing Spider-Man than I have with Spider-Man Homecoming.
Oh, yeah?
Even though, like, I've like, my best friend, The Hustle, and I talk movies all the time.
Yeah.
And he was kind of breaking down to me. He was like, well, this is a problem, storytelling stuff. And I'm like, that's true. None of that bothers me.
Yeah.
Spider-Man Homecoming, great movie, love it. Have a ton of problems with it, and I can't turn my brain off.
Yeah.
And one movie, I was totally fine. The other movie, my brain is constantly picking it, like, that doesn't make sense. You know, why doesn't he have a spider sense?
The spider sense thing.
They replaced it with Jennifer Connelly.
The whole MJ... Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. I did. The whole MJ thing irritated me. First of all, she is whoever her name is, Zatanna or
Zendaya.
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 Yeah, she is the worst actress I've
I saw
ever
you say
seen.
I like her.
I hated her. All of her lines were exactly the same.
I don't think she's good in the movie, but I've said, like...
Oh, I haven't seen her in anything else. I guess
she's a Disney Channel actress.
Yeah, my daughter loves her
she's
something undercover.
Beautiful girl, great. That's a terrible show. I've seen it. But for a little girl, I can, you know, like your daughter's what, 7 or 8? She's 9. Okay, that's about right. Great singer, beautiful girl. But yeah, she's a Disney Channel actress. They don't really train her that well, but I'm pretty sure her character Michelle and Liz, who is the main actress in it, pretty sure they were the same character at one point in the script. I think this is a rewrite because they realized, like, oh well, we want to have this twist. I'm not going to give away the ending unless you already heard the Homecoming special that we did on the show a while back. But you know, when they wrote that twist at the end, I think they were like, oh, well, we can't really have Michelle, and I'll tell you exactly why. There's a few reasons why I think they were the same character. The first one is that the opening scene has Michael Keaton's character, Adrian Toomes, looking at a picture that his daughter drew.
Yeah.
I think I just gave away the spoiler. It doesn't matter. Sorry, the movie's been out for a month, whatever. So, like, they make a big deal about this picture that she drew. The character that's drawing for the rest of the movie, like, randomly, is Michelle.
Yeah.
The rest of the movie, like, they make a big deal about her being an artist. even though it doesn't fit with everything else, like she's a mathlete and all that, and she's a loner, like there's no reason for her to do all that stuff, and there's this weird connection that doesn't go anywhere. Whereas Liz Allen, you know, she does, or Liz Toombs, whatever she turns out to be.
They got me with that twist. Like I didn't expect it. I mean, I guess that's why they made her black, so they could catch you like that. But
that just leads to more questions.
Yeah.
Like as soon as I saw that, I was like, she keeps calling him Dad.
Yeah.
Did he adopt her? Is that his stepdaughter?
I really loved Michael Keaton in it, and the character as a whole. I loved it. I thought that I was hoping that they would, if they were going to do the mix mash thing where they're putting people together, I was hoping that they would start using him as Norman Osborn, because he would be such a good Norman Osborn.
I'm glad they got away from Norman Osborn.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad and I'm also glad, and I've said this from the beginning, I didn't have a problem with Zendaya being, obviously she's going to be the love interest in the next movie, or
She's
something
awful.
like that.
I hate her.
I don't have a problem with that, because I was like, look, Peter's into black chicks, cool. I like some black chicks, you know? However, we've seen enough of Mary Jane, we've seen enough of Gwen Stacy. Just make her a different character and we're fine.
Is it that hard?
They basically did. Like, they kind of winked at the camera, but nobody's going to call her MJ.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that irritates me about it, is that they took MJ, I guess, and it was such a lazy way to do that. My friends call me MJ. That's such a lazy way. So you're Mary Jane Watson, and your name's Michelle, whatever her last name was. You're not redhead. Mary Jane in the comic books was not any kind of comedic relief. Never said anything funny.
She wasn't really a loner.
Yeah,
well,
she was like the popular girl.
She sort of. I mean, she was someone with a deep past. But yeah, she was very popular.
And so they literally just took a name and assigned it to something completely different. Why even bring that up? Why make that a thing?
By the way, just like I didn't think about this earlier when I did the review, but when she says like my friends call me MJ, she's talking to the only people that would count as friends.
Yeah.
Like none of them call her MJ.
Too.
But
I'm hoping they keep Michael Keaton, because I like that he lived and everything, and they kind of made a reference
I think the next one's going to be the Scorpion. I think
they're going to do Sinister Six. It might be
probably. You know what? Sony being what they are, because I think their contract with Marvel is only one more movie.
Yeah.
Aside from like the Marvel end of stuff where Spider-Man's obviously going to be in Infinity War and whatever the other thing is, but there's like one more Spider-Man movie, and everything else supposedly, unless they up their contract, Sony's, you know. So Sinister Six.
We can bitch about. Go ahead.
Sinister Six will probably either be Spider-Man 2 or Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
I'm actually thinking it'll be 3. I think you'll get Scorpion in the next movie, and then Sinister Six they'll like introduce little threads. I think Spider-Man 3 is where they'll try to do Sinister Six.
Number one, I want to bitch about the Venom movie that's coming up. It is so,
starring Bane himself.
Yeah, I love that. I love the casting. I love Tom Hardy. It's not going to have Spider-Man in it.
So here's the thing about Sony. Sony is worse than even Warner Brothers as far as like they don't know what they're doing. Somebody the other day pointed out like Sony used to be like this big company where like the best products were Sony products, and then at some point the only good thing Sony was putting out was the PlayStation. Mm-hmm. Actually, now Sony's coming up in cameras again,
they've got the Sony F100 or something is like a really good popular camera.
Well, for vloggers, like the A9s and the A7Ss are, because that's I'm looking at maybe at one point getting one, but anyway, so their plans are to they want to make a Spider-Man shared universe, because Spider-Man has a lot of different characters.
Yeah.
The problem with all those characters is they all revolve around Peter.
Yeah.
It's not like Black Cat. I think she has had a miniseries at some point, but
I'm sure she has.
But they were like, "What do we have? Oh, we have Black Cat and Silver Sable."
Yeah, now, Silver Sable? That hasn't even been a character since the 90s.
I actually think that could be a good movie if it's done right, because what I'm picturing is that it's sort of like a 1970s movie, like sort of Romancing the Stone kind of thing.
Yeah.
With Black Cat as this thief that steals some sort of diamond that Silver Sable's protecting. And it's sort of like Lara Croft, kind of like you know, like if they do it as sort of some sort of like adventure movie, less than a superhero movie, that could work.
It could come out of left field like Blade did or something like that, something
Right.
that's not so popular.
But you're right, Venom without Spider-Man
Doesn't even make sense. The reason that Venom has a spider on his chest is because
assuming that they keep the spider.
They would have to. That's Venom. I mean, I guess they probably don't have
it's
to.
Sony. It's
You're
Sony.
right.
I could see them. You know, the only other thing I can see them doing is like maybe Spider-Man's not in the movie, but maybe he's obsessed with Spider-Man or something like that.
Yeah.
They could easily do that, and it turns into some sort of anti-hero movie.
I guess I could see that. But I was hoping my ass off that in Infinity War they would do the black suit, and that's how, because it was in Secret Wars. It was when he first came about in comic books.
That's the other part that like I'm actually concerned at Infinity War. Like the little trailer that they had on the internet briefly looked good, but like so I actually like Age of Ultron. I think it's a fun movie.
Yeah.
I understand people's problems with it, but if you just watch it like just for like an entertaining Avengers movie instead of like some sort of expectation for it, it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And James Spader as Ultron,
great.
Cool.
Yeah.
I like but that movie was teetering on the edge of too many characters, too many things going on, and just barely kind of held together.
Yeah.
Infinity War is going to have like 24 superhero characters or something like that.
Yeah, I'm guessing a lot of them aren't. Like it'll narrow down to the main cast. It'll be Captain America, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, against Thanos.
But from a movie standpoint, for general, you can do that in comics.
Yeah.
Movie standpoint for audiences, there is with characters a not Occam's razor, gun.
Point of diminishing returns.
There's that too. Now I'm trying to think of. I can't think of the name of the gun. If something's in a movie, if a gun's in a story, at some point the gun has to come into play. Nah, it's a storytelling thing. But put it to you this way: every character that appears in a movie has to have a point.
Yeah.
You can't have it won't be Iron Man. It can't be Rocket Raccoon either. Gamora. You can't have Gamora pop up in a scene but not say anything.
Yeah.
She has to. That's really going to drive me. What's the name of the gun?
Smoking gun? I don't know.
No, it's a storytelling thing. Like it's the name of a writer, but it doesn't matter. It's just gonna drive me crazy. But every character has to have a point in a movie.
Yeah.
You can't just have them randomly show up. Particularly when you're talking about these type of characters, they're not extras.
Yeah.
So for a comic book audience, it's like, all right, maybe we could accept that. But for someone who's never read the comics, it's not going to be satisfying to have it function that way.
I don't know. I think in the Marvel movies, they've kind of gotten away with that a lot. Like, they kind of do the thing where you can have Captain America in Spider-Man Homecoming because it kind of fits a little bit.
But that's
the way they use it. Yeah, but I think a lot of the people, like, they might... I'm hoping they'll bring Daredevil in, at least to talk. Because the original Infinity War, Daredevil was one of my favorites. That's my favorite part of it. There's serious bad blood at Disney between different companies, and particularly Marvel TV and Marvel Studios. Yeah.
The only way that happens is if there's a change in management, and at this point the movie's coming out anyway.
Yeah.
But no, that's why you have the Defenders being the Avengers team for.
I'm hoping that they'll switch it up because everybody knows they're going to kill Captain America. I'm hoping they kill Iron Man instead. But I'm a Captain America guy. That's like he's my favorite.
That's cool. I don't know. I don't have any. I'm not going into this movie with any expectations. The footage looked good, but I don't know. Like, I just I feel like I'm a little. My pleasure centers are sort of burnt out by all this stuff. Like, I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, I'm way more excited for Kingsman: The Golden Circle than I am for Star Wars Episode 8.
Yeah, I still haven't watched... No, I guess I did watch a little bit of the new Star Wars movie. Not the Rogue One. I still haven't seen that one, but the other one.
Okay, so between the two, I actually think Episode 7's better.
Oh yeah.
It feels like a Star Wars movie. It's missing a lot of the depth that made the original Star Wars what it was.
Yeah.
But basically, it's like Episode 7 is like the perfect Star Wars fan film. Like if you were to go to somebody like me and be like, hey, go make a Star Wars movie that continues the saga like 10, 20 years later, that's the movie I would make. It wouldn't be as good as the original Star Wars, but it would feel like it.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's all Disney kind of wants out of it. They want people to kind of forget about how much they hated the prequel stuff. Rogue One, people went nuts for. Like, actually, I think you'd find it interesting. Like, I'll send you a link to the Grim Grinning Host episode where we broke down Rogue One. Because I was on a Disney show called Grim Grinning Host, and the main host, Hunter, wanted to, like, he's a big Star Wars now. He loves, like, the extended universe stuff and all that. And he wanted to do a review, like, right after the movie came out. So it was the two of us and a guy named Brad Just, who does the Jurassic Park podcast. And it's like it's a 2-hour episode, but they both went nuts for the movie. I was like, I really enjoyed this movie. Here's the problems that I had with it, like, and I sort of lay out a case for why it doesn't quite work. But it's, I think you'll find Rogue One more interesting because they're actually trying for something. Yeah. Like, they're really doing like a Dirty Dozen movie more than a Star Wars movie. Okay.
I don't know why everybody's British nowadays.
Because it makes people think they're smarter.
You think?
Oh, that's, I forget
classier or something?
I think it's Ben Shapiro says, like, people add, like, 10 points to your IQ if you have an English accent. Oh. Like, you're not smarter, you just sound smarter.
Yeah.
You know?
I can see that. All right.
But I know a lot of English people.
I watched...
they're not, sorry.
They're dumb. I watched this movie called, I think I want to say it was called Freaks of Nature, maybe, or Freak... It's about zombies, zombies, vampires, and, what's the other one? And humans, I guess. It's this big war between them. And at the end, this alien comes, and it's got a lot of big actors in it. The guy, it's like Upright Citizens Brigade type people, you know. Okay. But in the end, there's an alien comes, and it's Werner Herzog does the voice for the alien, and they're like, "Why are you German? Why do you have a German accent?" It was just funny that they called him out on it. I loved it.
Was this like a Netflix movie? Or was like
no, it was on HBO. Okay. Maybe it's just called Freaks or something. It's really good. It's got it's not really good, but it's entertaining to watch. It's just a little comedy film, and it had Keenan from Key and Peele. Not the director one, the other one.
Jordan Peele and Keegan-Michael Key.
Yeah, Keegan-Michael Key, that's it. And he's in it, and a bunch of other people, but it's really good. It was worth the watch since I just watched it on HBO.
Well, all right, well, I think we're going to end this here. Hopefully, no one's too bothered by the sounds of traffic. Like, for some reason, it's a busy day on Veterans. Yeah. You know, it's a Sunday afternoon. Thanks, Matt. We should talk about this briefly before we get out. You just got back into comedy. Yeah, just got back probably 2 Fridays ago, or last Friday or something. So I've been in been in Orlando for a year and a half, and I was getting my degree, and it was kind of hard for me to do both, I guess. Because when you're doing comedy, especially for me, I write so much, and it takes up so much of my time that I didn't have time to pay attention to both of them. So, yeah, thanks to you guys for having me the other night. Yeah, MHOG does an open mic, and everybody's welcome. And you were pretty. It was kind of funny. You were pretty nervous, and you did well. You did. I won't say too much, but you did try to get us in trouble.
I can't help it. You can't tell me not to do something and then expect me not to do it. Anytime it's like, hey, try not to talk about this. I have to talk about that. It's like I have a fucked up brain. I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. Sorry. I didn't do as bad as the other guy did. That guy got kicked out, so.
We don't want to get into that, but. Yeah. So you You just doing open mics right now? You trying to get on any shows?
Yeah, no, just open mics right now. Just getting back into it slowly. I'm wanting to put together a crew to do some filming and make some short films and stuff like that to try to get in some different festivals and stuff. I've got one movie called Kill the Cat that's going to be pretty big. I did the producing for it, and I did all of the stunt choreography and second unit directing for it. And that's going to be going in Sundance at the beginning of next year. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
You said it's Kill the Cat.
Kill the Cat.
When is it coming out?
Well, it'll be a long time before it's actually to where you can see it, because you can't.
It's an indie film.
Yeah, it's an indie film, and you can't release it anywhere until if you're wanting to put it in Sundance.
Right on.
So, yeah, we're hoping it'll be big. We did kind of put it in an internet festival, and it won a few awards, but it's a small festival, so it wasn't.
They didn't get mad at you.
Anything. Yeah. But yeah, I've got that. I've got my website. I'll plug. IHateMattRobin.com. It's got all my, all the films I've been in. It's got my director reel and a couple of other things on it. So.
All right, and any social media you want to plug before we go?
Just I Hate Matt Robin at I Hate Matt Robin on Twitter, and just find me on Facebook, man. I'm a Facebook guy more than a Twitter guy.
I hear you. I'm more of an asshole on Twitter. Actually, Twitter's mostly where I talk about my politics.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure 90% of the people that follow me have me hidden or muted. I'm pretty sure.
I get that a lot, and I get people just coming out of nowhere and asking why they're still friends with me on Facebook. I don't know. Delete me. I don't care.
I don't understand that. I don't say that about people that I disagree with them.
I know.
I had I won't get too far into this, but I had a woman that I was pen pals from MySpace for 12 years.
Yeah.
In 2016, deleted me, and we hadn't talked much, but I noticed she had deleted me, and I wrote to her, and I was like, hey, just out of curiosity, after over a decade, why are you no longer talking to me? And she said something to the effect of, it's too complicated to get into on here, but basically people like you hate people like me. And I was like, wow, you don't know me at all. That's stupid. I was like, well, I wish you luck in your future endeavors, but no, that's actually I told her, I was like, I'm more disappointed that you clearly don't know me after a decade.
Yeah.
Because we'd had very private, personal conversations. I was like, I'm more disappointed by that than the fact that you don't want to talk to me.
Yeah.
Because that means we were never really friends.
I had a friend. I have one of my best friends from film school. She's a media communications person, which she's great. She's brilliant. Her name's LaJoya, and she is super into the Black Lives Matter movement. And she's super liberal, and and I'm not. I'm a libertarian, but I'm more on a conservative side of it. And we can sit there and talk about things and respect each other's opinion and not yell at each other, not fight, not delete each other from Facebook and shit like that. And to me, that's what our friendship should be. Mm-hmm. We can have two different mindsets, two different ideas on things, and still either talk about it or not talk about it. We can do anything else, you know what I mean? But I hate that people are like that. If you're super liberal, and because I don't think Trump is doing as bad of a job as everybody seems to think he's doing.
That's a complicated discussion. I'm not a Trump hater. I'm definitely not a Trump supporter.
Definitely not.
Actually, that was the funny thing.
I'll say I'll support him because he's the president. But I'm military.
I'm over that shit, honestly. I saw somebody. I'll talk about this before we close out. So President Obama's birthday was last week.
Yeah.
And I saw a bunch of people say "Happy Birthday, President Obama," which kind of bugged me a little bit. One famous artist that I know, I won't say his name, but not that it matters, but he drew a picture of Obama and wrote, "Happy birthday, Mr. President, I miss you." And I was like, I miss you?
That's weird.
I was like, what the fuck does that mean? And I'm not bothered that people like President Obama. I was just like, he's a civil servant. I don't know what Ronald Reagan's birthday is.
Yeah.
I shouldn't. Honestly, I don't know. Even though it's a holiday, I don't know what George Washington's birthday is.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't. At the end of the day, even if they do great things, they're civil servants. Like they're not monarchs.
Yeah.
You know, like it's weird to me that people would wish a former president happy birthday.
It's definitely like that for Obama. Like he was a change. He changed the whole country immediately when he became president.
Well, culturally,
I think it
was always going that direction. I think it was just a good excuse for a lot of people to. But you know, whatever.
I hate the Facebook posts that say like he was 8 years with no
scandals.
No scandals. That's bullshit.
Well,
Fast and Furious was a huge scandal.
But most people are low information voters.
Yeah, you're right.
And look, and I'm not an expert either. Like I know pay a lot of attention, but whatever. Hey, whatever. Happy birthday, President Obama. I don't miss you. I don't know you.
I'm sure you're a nice person.
Yeah, I don't like your wife, but like
I don't like her either. I don't understand. Bill Burr said it, but I don't understand why people are wanting her to be president now. Like she's literally done nothing that would make that a thing. What about fucking the current president makes you able to do that?
I mean, it almost worked for Hillary.
Yeah, guess so.
But that's it. We are done here. Thank you, Matt Robin.
Thank you for having me.
This has been a movie-intensive Metal Hand of God podcast. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry about the background noise, but, you know, this is what happens often when I'm in charge. So, hopefully the Rum Guy and Wayne will be back on the next episode. If not, I guess you'll have more of me. So,
it's not a bad thing.
Did I just say peace?
Peace out.
I don't know why I said that. All right, keep it metal. Keep it metal.
That's it.